Howdy. Once again, I would like to talk about copper and the associated sulfur occurrences. I have now 30 videos in this playlist about Finnish copper and the associated sulfur, microwave experiments and stuff like that. And today I finally managed to make some very simple experiment. You don't basically need any special equipment except a lighter. And it happened so that my wife bought these kind of lighters. And I think they work pretty well. Some time ago I made a video about Sulfur, Sodom and Ryan Watt, who has been in Gomorrah or Sodom or both of the places where he found sulfur balls, basically. And some of them still burned as they set them on fire. But I have been pondering about sulfur very much. For example, also this Finnish Copper sulfur effect on ripple formation and penetration, which has basically to do with welding and how a little bit of sulfur makes the welding seem much more deeper, or the pool in which the molten metal is deeper than in material with a little bit less sulfur. And I have been pondering about the origin of the sulfur here in Finland, for example, might have its origin on Venus or from the interaction with it. So this is the hexology I once started, which now grew into 30 videos about basically the same topic. So it happened to the playlist as it happened to the stones. They just start to grow. So now, here is where we start. We got some pliers, we got a lighter, and we got a stone, which I cut in half already. Yeah, there are some other interesting stones in that box. And the stone, when cut in half, a little bit polished and wetted, it looks like this. And there is metal inside. I don't know if it's really visible here. Maybe. These are the metal pieces, all these brighter spots. But not necessarily. I think that's more metal looking, these. But then, on the other hand, we have this area, which is white, yellowish white, and there is also red in this stone. And I think I have been microwaving one of these. I have at least two of somewhat similar stones. And one of these has been in the microwave for some time, but it didn't do anything. Or at least nothing which was in the range of my patience. So I figured out, in order to get some more knowledge about that thing, I probably need to heat it with something else than a microwave. And I thought I record the thing that no one ever can claim that I was making tricks or whatsoever. So I took my camera crew and we went into the A3 Anomaly Studio laboratory headquarters and made a video. Probably not. I just tried to fix my phone somewhere that I could record it. And now let's just have a look. Now it's still easy for me to handle that there's a camera because I couldn't see. I thought I'd try to make it with better quality than this selfie cam thing. So I couldn't really see what's visible. So that's a lighter where you get a lot of heat, much more heat than from this basic lighter. And some like a few minutes ago, I watched that for the first time, and I really had to laugh about myself how spastic my moves are because I tried somehow to show it to the camera what's going on, and obviously I was struggling. Yeah, it's rather spastic, but anyway, and of course, it was empty. Now reload it. Give me a second, it will soon work. Here in the background, you can see there's the microwave. And I also try to observe if there's anything else going on. But there's nothing really going on except it starts to glow at one point. There isn't also any smoke arising or whatsoever. Now it starts to glow as you can see here. So it's rather hot. So I heated it properly. 600 degrees maybe, I don't know. And the thing is, that it is sulfur. Yeah. It is sulfur. Which to me is not only very interesting, but it might be also very interesting to some other people. Because Sodom and Gomorrah aren't too far away after all from Cyprus. And why that's important, in my opinion, is because Cyprus, the name Cuprum, is derived from the island Cyprus, because there is a lot of copper. And it seems very strongly to me that sulfur is associated with copper. And for those who have seen my Finnish Copper videos, I think there is also a rather strong association to the interactions between Earth and Venus, which could indicate that the Bronze Age, which started approximately 1,500 years before Christ, or whatever you want to call it, before our time, correlates very well with what Velikovsky had figured out about the close encounters of Venus with Earth. from which I think we got the copper. You need copper in order to get bronze. Bronze constituency is somewhat more than 80% copper, and the rest is some other stuff, zinc or tin, or maybe even else, other materials. But you need a lot of copper in order to get bronze. And I think that's just a very logical conclusion. You can disagree you're free to disagree. I'm not telling you that. Believe me, I'm just trying to bring forward stuff what I found. I bring forward my thoughts about it, why I think about it like this. But it's up to you. But anyway, in my opinion, in order to have something like a Bronze Age, I think you need at least bronze. You know? There won't be any Bronze Age if there is no bronze. Venus had those close encounters with Earth around 1500 BC. And afterwards, there has been some encounters between Earth and Mars. And the chronology, I'm still trying to figure out. I try to find numbers and stuff like that, but I'm busy. Anyway, there has been first the Bronze Age, and after the Bronze Age, all of a sudden there has been the Iron Age. It has been all of a sudden as the Bronze Age. Yeah, Venus approached Earth. There has been huge electrical discharge events happening between the two planets. Bam! There was the copper and the sulfur. As I've been explaining once about Outokumpu, the strange hill here in Finland, where they found a lot of ore, copper ore, which is, funnily, very similar to the copper found in Cyprus. And there's a lot of sulfides here in Finland, especially around the Copper Mountain. And sulfides are all derived from sulfur. You need sulfur in order to get whatever sulfide. There's also a lot of sulfur here. As this little pebble here, which I glued onto a glass plate in order to check it under the microscope. But as you can see, it's still rather thick. Maybe some 4 millimeters. So, now I have found those two pebbles. And at least one of them seems to be partially made out of sulfur. Brimstone. As told in the Bible, it was raining brimstone from the sky. And that's also a very important point to think about, that how is it possible that the copper and the iron are on the surface? You don't have to dig hundreds of meters down into the ground in order to find iron or copper ore. No, it's on the surface. And the example here in Outokumpu with this strange hill, which is the meaning of Outokumpu, strange hill or strange mound. The story about this, what would it be, troll or something, which, according to ancient stories, lived in the mountain and every now and then burned his golden treasures in order to burn off the mold. And it is also said that there has been strange fires or lights above the hill, not on the hill. That's a huge difference. Not on the hill. It's not that the hill would have been on fire. Above the hill. And the strange smell, the smell of mold as told by ancient people. I think the smell of mold wasn't mold at all, it was the smell of sulfur, but since there hasn't been any sulfur here before, people couldn't really tell what it's smelling to. So they called it just mold, the smell of mold, because they were familiar with mold, but not with the smell of sulfur. And burning off the golden treasures probably means geomagnetically induced strong telluric currents heated up the material inside the mountain because copper is very conductive. And it heated up so much that the sulfur started to smell or even burn. And because the tether currents were so strong, there has been forming a plasmoid above the hill, which are strange lights. And now I have those two pebbles, which seem to be partially made out of sulfur. And I tried to figure out what they're really made of. So I made a thin slice. I've been grinding it and grinding it and grinding it, putting it under the microscope and started to look at it. So these are the first impressions of parts of this one piece. And there is yellow stuff here as well and metal. All this is metal. And I try to get some analysis of these. What's the thing we are looking at exactly? Yeah, that's a little bit an unsharp picture. And this is obviously the white stuff. The sulfur. And there seems to be some inclusions within the sulfur. Maybe this red stuff is burned sulfur within, or I don't know, I'm still making investigations about, like, sulfur can be white, it can be yellow, and it can be red, crimson red. I've been talking about this as well. A skirt made of fire, blue stockings, and crimson red shoes. So I tried to make better pictures than these. This is just the first try because I really couldn't wait. I really had to take a look at that as quickly as possible. Now I'm just sharing this with you. If there's anyone out there, one of those geologists or petrologists or whoever people who are really good at recognizing stuff under the microscope, and you probably know what we are looking at, tell me. There's metal here, and then we have a darker area, and the darker area here, and then it's white, and there is some black stuff here, and inclusions all over the place. This might be pyrite, and I figured out, believe it or not, I can make pictures when the light is coming from above and from below at the same time, in order for you to make the colors visible. If there's just light from above, it's not that interesting. And in a way, I think these pictures, what you are looking at right now, they could have rather big implications in several science branches, such as history, philosophy, geology, petrology, mythology, biology, chemistry, cosmology. You get the idea. And besides that, I think it's very beautiful. I think that's only light from above. And like I said, I maybe try to grind these even finer or even more smooth. And I tried to take a little bit more time, but I was just so very excited about. I mean, look at that. Look at that. These almost look like cells. Yeah, I know. Sounds strange, but I can't help. It just looks like. There's some black stuff here in the middle and red, and yellow. That's amazing. Is this graphite? There is some colorful reflection. This might indicate something or maybe not. Whoa! Look at that! Look at that! That's really amazing. There's metal inside these as well. Maybe small pyrites, puriti in Finnish. Yeah, that's all very interesting. I have to send them to someone. But now we have seen them. I really try to do my best investigating stuff, spending my valuable time with these kind of things, grinding and sawing and checking out and finding and reading about things. Yeah. Has it been raining brimstone in Finland too? I'm still searching some clues in the Kalevala, which some say is about 3,500 years old, so you probably would expect something similar. And since I understood that they probably didn't knew about sulfur, because there hasn't been any, they might have called it something else. Now the question is what? If you know someone who knows, tell me. But anyway, it will just take time, but I will figure out, I promise you. That's a big thing, people. Brimstone in Finland. Where did it came from? Maybe it was auroral precipitation or something like that. But anyway, thanks.